Hello, welcome to a new video. Today I'm gonna teach you how to use supply and demand zones or SNDs properly. The first thing we need to do to use supply and demand zones correctly is to be on the right side of the market. A lot of people think that supply and demand zones are so powerful that they just work by themselves. And I'm here to tell you that no concept works by itself. Most people see a supply and demand zone and think, oh yeah, here's a supply and demand zone, let me trade it, and it falls through. Oh yeah, here's another supply and demand zone, let me trade it, and it falls through again. Okay, third time's the charm, and it falls through again. And it just keeps going and going and going. And the reality is that there's so much more on what makes a supply and demand zone valid, and there's also a misconception on how to use them. Because most people use an SND as price is coming down instead of waiting for price to go into the SND and validate it for it to then push up and enter. But don't worry, I'm here to help you and I'm here to guide you on how to use them properly. So, without further ado, let's get to it. Alright, let's see how to be on the right side of the market. The daily time frame being our higher time frame, the 90-minute being our medium time frame, and the 15-minute being our lower time frame or execution time frame. Now that we're on the higher time frame or daily time frame, we're gonna use a couple of things. First, we're gonna wait for a double break of highs. Just like you see here, you see one break of high, and then just like you see here, you see a second break of high. We are also gonna make sure that the EMA 200 is above price, just like you see here. As price came down, we see that price got above the 200 EMA, it broke structure twice, and then it followed through. Now after this, we're gonna wait for price to be more aggressive and surf the EMA 10 or 20. We go all the way here, and as you can see, price is surfing the EMA 10 or 20. You can also see how aggressive this move is. This is what we were looking for, not only to be on the right side of the market, but also to know that price is carrying lots of momentum. The next thing to do is draw a line where price was surfing EMA 10 or 20, so we don't get lost on where we left off, and we're gonna drop down to the 90 minutes or middle time frame. Now that we know where we left off, we're gonna delete this real quick, and we're gonna continue. First, we can see here that the last high before creating a low was here, then for price to break and create a high. Now that we got this out the way, we're gonna look for one more thing here, which is price surfing the EMA 10 or 20. And as you can see here on the 90-minute time frame, price is surfing the EMA 10 or 20. Let's zoom in. Let's zoom in a little bit. See how it looks like. You can see here how price is surfing the EMA 20. So now what's left to do is to go into the lowest time frame or execution time frame and do the last step. We're gonna do the same thing that we did before. We're gonna make a line over here so we don't get lost, and we're gonna go to the 15-minute time frame. Alright, we're on the 15-minute time frame using our backtesting tool, and we're gonna do the following. The first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna identify our SNDs. We're gonna take the SND that's near or at a low. In this case, it will be this one. The next thing we need to know is the speed of the retracement. We don't want a retracement that's fast and sharp like this. We want a retracement that's a little bit slower and with some corrections along the way. Just like this. Alright, now we're gonna play it and see how it develops. As price is coming down, it touches the SND. And quick note here, this is the main reason why I don't use SNDs just to enter straight away, because it can easily just go through the SND and go through the low, but still that doesn't mean that the SND is not valid. If it goes below slightly, it's still a very valid SND. And now the last thing to do is wait for a push, then a retracement, and then buy stop the high. We're gonna play it now and see how it develops. As price is coming down, it created a push. Now we wait for a retracement. And now the moment that it goes above here, we're gonna buy stop the high. Alright, so we will be in and this will be the entry. So basically, the main things that we're looking for on this time frame is to look for the SND that's near or at the low. We want the retracement into the SND not to be just a sharp move down, but more of a move with some corrections. And as price validates the SND, we wait for the push, the retracement, and we buy stop the high inside of this range. Let's play out the rest of the trade and see how it goes. Alright, here is how the trade played out. It was a 10 plus RR, but now let's do a quick recap. Okay, so we're gonna go back to the start here. First, we need to be on the right side of the market across multiple timeframes. In this case, it's gonna be 3 timeframes. That way, we know we're in the right direction and we're not using every random SND. Number 2, we need to have momentum by the EMAs 10 or 20 being served by price on the higher timeframes. For me, the daily and the 90 minutes. Number 3, we will choose the SND at the end of the low, as this one has the best probabilities for price to react off of it. Remember, this is on the 15-minute time frame or the execution time frame. Number 4, price has to come into the SND in a not so aggressive manner by creating corrections along the way, and price shouldn't be choppy either. Number 5, if price goes slightly below the SND, it's all good as long as it reacts off of it quickly. We will then look for a move up, followed by a correction inside that range, and we'll buy stop the high of that correction. Number 7. Now, I haven't mentioned this, but if price fails to validate the SND and goes below the low and through the SND into another SND below, it can still be valid, as long as on the middle time frame, price is still surfing with the EMA 10 or 20. You can see here an example of number 7 that I shared live on my private mentorship on how price went below the low here for them to touch another SND and still give us an entry with a push up, a retracement, and then we buy stop the high, and at the same time still surfing the EMA 10 or 20. And as you can see here, we ended up closing for 3RR, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we closed at 3RR, and that was the trade. If you watched this video until this point, congratulations, you just learned how to properly use supply and demand zones. Now there's so much more to this on whether which SND to choose, in which stances price will likely go to the low, below the low, or sometimes even way above. I just gave you the blueprint. Now, you can find this out by yourself, but if you want to know more and speed up your process by the guidance of someone like me with 7 years of experience, you can join my private mentorship and I will do the work for you. Link below in the description and in the pinned comments. With that being said, thank you for watching this video, test it and see for yourself how valuable this information is, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.